What's up, guys? Welcome to Forgemaster Metal Reviews, the place where you can get the most out of your metal.
Today we are talking about our favorite black metal picks.
Let's roll it to the first one. Hit subscribe if you're new. My first pick is Tomarum, Ashen Realms of Stone Icons, released May 6th on Prosthetic Records. Hailing from Georgia, of all places, Tomarum have crafted a compelling hour-long debut record that I left listening kind of fucking speechless, to be honest with you. This progressive black metal release is all things cinematic, atmospheric, and highly adventurous, man. Tomarum means empty space in Icelandic, and this album is everything but empty. Featuring the drummer of Inferi, which was a perfect choice, by the way, for this record, made a world of a difference in upping the intensity of the execution of the full-blown blistering riffing and technical parts throughout this record. This album took 4 years to create, and honestly, I fucking get it, dude. Everything is so meticulously crafted down to the fine details of the crystal clear production, and this album feels like a voyage throughout some of the most anguishing terrain that one could possibly experience. I'm gonna give this record 4.6 out of 5 small things in space with another big thing in space to show the size of the big thing, like every Mariusz Lewandowski cover.
Bro, I feel like I can't talk about this album enough, mainly because we've been such huge supporters of Nechochwen for so long. Anyone who's seen this channel, you know, you've seen our Nechochwen stickers in the background and stuff like that. So for them to come out with such a killer record while we're actively doing this channel is just fantastic. I don't want to take away from our other discussions. We've already done what it seems like a few videos on this album. But if you want your blackened folk with hints of melodic death and doom, you need to jump onto the canoe and float down the Akamon River to hear some Nechochwen with their latest Kanawha Black. Fans of neofolk and ambient, don't be dissuaded by the heavy riffing on this record. If you want something a bit more chill, be sure to check out their back catalog, which is pretty much exclusively like neofolk with native influences tied into it. Their whole catalog is fucking spectacular. Kanawha Black is a fantastic record. I give it 4.5 out of 5 piercing arrowheads. Be sure to check out our other videos talking about Kanawha Black.
And like me, it's a grower, so definitely check it out. My next pick is Kvaen, The Great Below, released March 25th on Black Lion Records. There are a few black metal bands that genuinely get me stoked these days, and Kvaen are one of them. Their debut, The Funeral Pyre, took the metal world by frickin' storm, led by Jacob Bjornfjot, and the entire metal scene eagerly waiting, banging their heads, waiting for more fire, fire, fucking fire. The Great Below is beyond all expectations. He avoided the grim sophomore slump here. Sure, this is vicious, melodic black metal full of tremolo riffs, but something about it just sounds more authentic than ever before. Jacob gets one thing really right, above all else in his compositions, and that is the freaking pacing, dude. Every riff and song is carefully constructed and just fun to listen to. Whatever The Funeral Pyre did for you, The Great Below comes in even better with a whole slew of guest musicians to round out that 39-minute runtime. Do not miss this record. It is freaking phenomenal. 4.6 out of 5 Northern Light Wizards.
One of my favorite black metal records of this year. Definitely glad to see you put it on your list. This one does not get enough love. Check it out. French post-black metalers Celeste have been doing some really wild stuff in the genre for a long time now, dropping full-length after full-length while maintaining a pretty low-key spot in the scene. The band talks about real fucking issues: domestic violence, despair, grief, trust, betrayal, etc. When you wrap a sludgy, blackened blanket around these topics, you can be in for a deep ride of nihilism and self-loathing. I love how fucking heavy this record can be, revealing moments of true weight and burden. The syncopated, dissonant intro riffing on the second track, that I'm not even going to try and name, is absolutely stunning, and there are moments like that all over this record. The production on this record also slays. There's an analog sort of hiss that accompanies the master mix, and it really helps to tie the overall atmosphere together. This is a really unique record in the blackened post-metal category, so if that's your jam, you got to be sure to check this one out. Assassin gets 4.4 out of 5 hands-grabbing faces.
Next one on my list is Sylvaine Nova, released March 4th, the day after I was born. So special.
This year, too. He's 1 year old.
Yeah, I'm only one. Admittedly, I was completely new to this band, which honestly is a shame on my part since I'm such a huge fan of anything really atmospheric, folky, and just black gaze in general. Nova is the 4th full length from the Norwegian/French multi-instrumentalist Catherine Shepard, and wow, was my mind totally fucking blown after sitting with this album after multiple listens. It's difficult to describe the sheer beauty and ferocity within this record, but all I can say is if you love bands like Alceste, Les Discrets, Sylvaine sets a new bar. Every song invokes emotions in me that I didn't even really know I had. Maybe I'm just a sensitive sap because at the time that I was obsessed with this record, I just really needed winter to end, but Nova made things infinitely better for me. Look, I'm just doing so much better.
It's glowing.
Glowing. Easily an album of the year list contender because it's on this list. Gorgeous compositions, elegant layering that I discover things even today. Every new listen. 4.7 out of 5, Ghostly Maidens.
So, our Spotify playlist is black and dark metal, so in keeping with that theme, I decided to go more along the dark metal route for this next pick. Author and Punisher with Kruller back in February is a unique take on industrial metal. The mastermind behind Author and Punisher is fascinating to me. Tristan Schoen designs and fabricates his own instruments from raw materials in open source electronic diagrams. How fucking cool is that? Kruller is dark and gritty, grabbing onto lyrical themes that discuss climate change, the COVID pandemic, and the insurrection at the Capitol. Musically, Author and Punisher grabs from a wide variety of influences. Doom, shoegaze, goth metal, and industrial are all thrown into a cyborg blender, that's an actual thing, to create an uncomfortable dystopian atmosphere. It feels like you're being placed on a conveyor belt to be shown the world of tomorrow, but instead of a nice Disneyland ride with cute creatures, you're watching as abominations tear apart the human race. Between this one and Electromancy's Techno-Pagan, I think industrial metal is going in a really fucking cool direction. I gotta give this record the edge compared to Electromancy's, just due to its incomparable novelty and bleak characteristics that we kind of love around here. But if you want some hard-hitting industrial, be sure to check out both of these records. Kruller gets 4.3 out of 5 Killdozers.
Someone needs to make the band Cyborg Blender. That's fucking phenomenal band name.
We could do it.
Yeah. And my next pick is In Aphelion Moribund, released March 11th. Man, this band was a frickin' surprise, dude. A Swedish-Dutch trio consisting of Necrophobic and Cryptosis members. Have you guys heard of this band? I was certainly new to it. The band released their first full length this year, and I can tell that this is just mastery leveraged from both of their killer bands. This is no holds barred. Classic and expertly executed blackened death metal with influences of thrash and just horror movie vibes. So sign me up, man. Every song confidently marches into endless evil with razor sharp riffing, intricate and relentless drumming, and just pure majesty. You can't have black metal without majesty. It's like the 8th law of physics. I have a huge appreciation and love for bands that just capture the magic of the 90s, sounding black and death metal, and you can hear that in Moribund with a fresh approach in the production and mastering by Unleashed. It's really hard to say. Unleashed Frederick Fulcar. I had never heard of this band until March, and I'm so glad I gave it a spin. If you haven't checked this out, you have to do it. You won't be disappointed. 4.5 out of 5 Gorgon Staring Witches.
This is definitely a cool underground pick that I don't see like anybody else really talking about. So thank you for putting that one on there. It's a great one.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Diminished Empires. They have a very storied history here at the Forge. It is a band that we discovered on Underground Spotlight, then it graduated to the Best of the Month list, and now it is graduating even further to the Best of the Year so far. I don't think there are too many albums that have such coveted titles in such a short span of time here at Forgemaster, but hey, it's nice to see new things happening. The Dawn of Failure reminds me of everything I love about early Opeth and Agalloch. There's some cinematic moments blended with dramatic prog breakdowns that flow beautifully into an epic passage with a catchy as hell wild melody. The rhythm section on here is an absolute machine. I think that's what I always remember when I think of this record, and the production is cold and unique. This is just a cool album with motifs that get stuck in my head for a few days after listening. In totality, the pacing is a bit off, and I wish that the Dawn of Failure songs were separated and maybe packaged on their own record, but hey, look, this is really nitpicky stuff. Don't sleep on this one if you like your Atmo Black very proggy with a wicked tight rhythm section. 4.2 out of 5, Desolate Wastelands.
So cool to see this band on here.
Yeah.
This last one is no surprise to fans of the channel, but my last pick is I Am the Night While the Gods Are Sleeping, released May 6th on Smart Records. I'm on a kick lately, as you can see, with the 90s revival of melodic black metal. There's been so many great bands releasing that stereotypical blue hue Storm of the Lightsbane album cover copy, slapping on the 90s production coat of paint, and then just going to town on breathtaking melodic black metal riffing and vocals. I can't get enough of it, though. If you're a fan of bands like Emperor, Dissection, and Immortal, you'll know exactly what we're talking about here, and that is exactly what you're getting on this album. Sure, it doesn't reinvent the frostbitten wheel. It's freaking masterful in what was executed here, though. I Am the Night is technically a supergroup featuring members of Omnium Gatherum, Insomnium, and Paradise Lost. This is the real fucking deal in execution, and if this was released back in the 90s, this album would definitely be sitting on the shelf with those legendary albums that are pioneering the sound. This is one of my favorite albums of the entire year in the black metal category, 4.7 out of 5, Frostbitten Angels.
Last and definitely not least here is AGATHODAIMON's The Seven, released mid-March on Napalm Records. I'm more familiar with their older work, mainly the record Chapter 3 being one of my favorites, so I kind of more or less knew what to expect going into this. What I got from The Seven definitely exceeded my expectations, because sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get from some of these 30-year-old bands that have had inconsistent releases. Are they going to come out and lean into the tropes that were crappy? Or are they just going to, you don't know. This record, however, has a great fusion of goth and black metal that suits them perfectly, mainly because they've been doing that since the late 90s. Some bands, like I said, try on old tropes. They feel tired and overworn, but not this one. The Seven does not sound tired. It's fresh, the pacing is great, and the romantic parts kind of remind me like older Cradle of Filth with ice cold riffs. Love that shit. I also got to shout out that the clean vocals on this record are very well done, and they really help to tie things together on it. If you need some goth in your life and you like it served raw and blackened, don't sleep on The Seven. 4.4 out of 5, Root-Covered Skulls.
So sick to see this band on here. I feel like it went under a lot of radars, so definitely worthy of this pick in this spot. What are your favorite black metal albums? Leave them down in the comments below.
And as always, go with the gods, Forge mates, and don't be afraid of the great below.
See you guys next time.